Bookish besties, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lori from bookishlylori. So today I'm really excited because I'm doing the mid-year book tag, or the mid-year freakout tag. I'm still figuring out everything as far as like my camera, lighting, sound, getting back into all of that. It is raining today. That's pretty much the only thing I'm freaking out about, is that it's raining, but not freak out in a bad way. I'm really excited because I think after this it's like the perfect rainy, moody weather to finish the book I'm reading right now. I'm going to make myself a coffee and I'm going to sit and read in bed all day. It's going to be glorious. But I hope the lighting is not too bad because of the rain, but I think it's okay. I think we're good. But yes, so today I'm doing the mid-year book tag. I cannot believe that we are already considered mid-year. This year is passing by so fast, it's crazy. But it has been like a very mid-book year for me. It's been like, I haven't had like a lot of amazing standout reads yet. I'm excited to talk about the books that I've already read this year, and then I'm excited to kind of see what I'm going to be reading for the rest of this year, and I think the rest of this year I have some really good reading plans. So, the first one is the best book you've read so far in 2024. So, for the best book I've read so far in 2024, I am going to be talking about Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. So, I have answered this tag a few questions. The answer will be this book. This is my favorite book of the year that I've read so far. I'm actually reading the sequel to this book right now. But Kennedy Ryan is a new to me author. She's definitely not a new author. She has a good backlist that I'm definitely going to be working on completing this year now that I've loved this book so much. This book is a romance of a couple that has actually been divorced. So they were a married couple. Something traumatic happened in their marriage. They couldn't work it out and they decided to get divorced. But their lives are still very interconnected because they run a restaurant together and they have kids. So this story kind of involves our two main characters reconciling their feelings of the divorce, what led to their divorce, and the lingering feelings that are very much still there because they still, of course, have a lot of love for each other, being as they are co-parents together and still intertwined in each other's lives because they work together. But not just those things, that there is still feelings on both of their parts and how that they can reconcile with that and also deal with the traumatic event that caused their marriage to kind of abruptly end. So this book was super emotional. It was a super emotional read for me. Kennedy Ryan's writing style is just absolutely glorious. I think the way that she portrays these characters and the way that her characterization in her writing is, it makes you feel so strongly, and you empathize with these characters so much. Even though the situation in this book, I don't want to spoil it, but if you do have trigger warnings, I would, consider looking them up before reading this, especially if you have sensitivities around children, around divorce, child loss, things like that. I would go ahead and look it up, even though it's kind of a spoiler. But, take care of yourself while reading this because it is such an emotional read. But if this is something that you can read and you're comfortable reading those topics, it is so impactful. And the way, like I said, her characterization, you bond with these characters, you empathize so much with them. And even if you've never been in the situation the characters have been, you really feel their feelings. And I love when books are able to do that and capture those emotions so well. So this book is the first in a trilogy of interconnected standalones so far. We follow three women who have become best friends. Following this first one, our character Yasmin, and she's met these two other characters through her divorce and just become really close to them, and they've become her best friends and helped her through this situation. The second book, This Could Be Us, and I absolutely love that one too. I'm having a great time. I'm about more than halfway through, but it doesn't compare to this one. This first book was absolutely amazing. So, best book of 2024, Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Next one is best sequel you've read so far in 2024. So for best sequel, I'm going to talk about Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. If you haven't seen this graphic novel series, you might have noticed that there's a show on Netflix based on this graphic novel series. If you've watched the show or only read the graphic novel, vice versa, I love both of them so much. The show is a little bit behind where the graphic novels are, of course. But yeah, this is the latest one that most recently came out in this graphic novel series. I would say best sequel for this one because I have enjoyed the whole Heartstopper series. It's something I can rely upon being really cute, really fluffy, like a palate cleanser if I've just read something really dark or scary. This is like such a comfort read. I absolutely love it. If you don't know what it's about two boys, Nick and Charlie, and they are going to school in England. They're like high school in America level, but it's all about them navigating growing up and falling in love for the first time with each other and navigating friends and school and their futures and all that cute teen fluffiness. But it is actually absolutely so cute and so heartwarming. So yes, best sequel would be Volume 5 of Heartstopper. Release you haven't read yet but want to. So I actually just got this new release in the mail. So the new release is Honeycut by Sierra Simone. So this is the second book in, let me put it this way, the Lioness Trilogy by Sierra Simone. The first one is called Salt Kiss, but I will tell you, if you're interested in reading this series after I talk about it, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you read the prequel novella, which is called Salt in the Wound. So what this series is about, we have three characters. It's actually a retelling of the Tristan and Isolde story. I'm not familiar with that story so much, but you don't really have to be to read this. It's a modern story by Sierra Simone. And we follow three characters. The first prequel novella gives us a lot of background on two characters, Isolde and Mark. And then this book, Salt Kiss, tells us about the relationship of Mark and Tristan. And that's what leads us to this book, Honeycut. So even though this is the second book technically, I really think you should read Salt in the Wound first. I absolutely loved that prequel novella. It was so good. Salt Kiss was alright. I felt like there was a lot of because the reason is in Salt in the Wound we kind of get more of Mark and Isolde's journey, and we're kind of getting the forward momentum, and then with this book, Salt Kiss, we go back and we see more what happened in the past relating to Mark and Tristan's relationship. So this is an MMF series. So now that we're on the second book, Honeycut, I'm imagining this is more where the MMF is going to start, because we've kind of seen the pairs acting in isolation. We've seen Tristan and Isolde, Mark and Isolde, and Mark and Tristan, but we haven't seen all three of them really interacting together, and I think that's what this book is going to bring us. So really interesting concept. We have an owner of a spicy club, and he kind of trades in government secrets, so very scandalous, very salacious, Mr. Mark. And then we have Tristan, who is his bodyguard, and we have Isolde, who is his arranged marriage. So yeah, if you know Sierra Simone, if you've read any of her works before, she does do a lot of MMF. I read the new Camelot series, pretty good. I did like it. I'm enjoying this series so far. We'll see where it goes, but I'm definitely interested in this one to see how they're all going to interact when all three of them come together. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I have two. So I'm going to put them up on the screen over here. So the first one I'm anticipating is The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. If you're not familiar, Casey McQuiston is the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue. Very popular right now with the movie having come out. Also One Last Stop, which I also loved. So So this is an author I feel safe with. I've enjoyed both of their previous works. So I'm just excited for this next one. I honestly intentionally don't know much about it, even though I pre-ordered it. I kind of like going in blind. I don't really want to know what's going on. All I know is that we follow two characters, I believe on like some kind of European like travel, and there's like lots of travel and food involved. That's all I know. That's all I want to know before it comes out. Here's the release date. I already pre-ordered it. I'm excited. I'm waiting for it. I loved their previous two books, like I said, so I have no doubt that I'm also going to enjoy this. Even though it's different from their previous two works, I think it's going to be great. The next one I'm excited for is called Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, that is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be so cute. So this, the tagline for it says, it's a cross between Red, White, and Royal Blue and The Nightmare Before Christmas. How cute does that sound? So if you're not familiar with Red, White, and Royal Blue, how did you miss it? It's very popular right now, especially with the movie coming out on Amazon. So that is about two princes from different countries falling in love, in that case, America and England. Kind of a forbidden romance, but very cute, very fluffy. This one is mixed with Nightmare Before Christmas. So in this one we have the Prince of Christmas Town and the Prince of Halloween Town, or Halloween Land, falling in love. And I think it's going to be absolutely adorable. It's going to be a perfect like fall to Christmas time transition read. Kind of like in October when I would normally watch Nightmare Before Christmas anyway, into like that autumnal into winter season. It's going to be perfect. So I'm really excited for that one as well. Biggest surprise would be Out on a Limb. So my biggest surprise for the year was Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I say biggest surprise for this one because I'm surprised how much I absolutely loved it. So in this one we have Winnie, and Winnie has always had a limb difference. She was born that way. And she's been navigating her life with this limb difference. She meets a guy at a Halloween party and has a one-night stand with this guy. But it's a really sweet, tender moment. You can tell, even though it's like this casual hookup, that there's more there to them, and you kind of are rooting that they're gonna end up getting together. Well, no spoiler here. This is literally on the back of the book. From that one-night stand, she ends up getting pregnant. So that's, of course, how they reconnect and form a friendship, and then develops into a blossoming romance. But like I said, this was the biggest surprise for me because of how much I loved it. I loved the representation. I loved reading from a character who has a different life experience than me. I think that was really valuable, and that representation is really important in a romance especially. And just both characters having limb differences and seeing how they navigate that, and how even though they have differences, that they can still be desirable to each other and to others, and how they're navigating this, just getting to know each other and becoming suddenly parents. And it felt very realistic because it wasn't like this like insta love where it's like, oh my gosh, we're having a baby together, I love you. It was very realistic where they really worked on their friendship and developed a strong foundation before eventually, of course, falling in love. So very realistic. Absolutely loved it, and I'm probably going to be reading more from this author. Favorite new author, either a debut or new to you. For this one, again, I'd have to say Kennedy Ryan. She's new to me. She is a very popular author. I know, I think I'm going to be catching up on her backlist this year. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, after reading Before I Let Go, it has put me on a Kennedy Ryan kick, and I definitely want to catch up on her backlist. Newest fictional crush. Okay, for this one, I picked Conrad from the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. I read all 3 books this year, and I really missed the show. I wish that there was season 3. We're still waiting for it patiently. But I watched the show first, so I watched the first 2 series of the show, and then I was like, you know what, this summer, since there is no season 3 yet, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to read all 3 books so I can read book 3 and figure out what happens. And I kind of already could guess, but I was very pleased with the outcome, and I'm hoping this show has the same outcome as the books. but I am definitely Team Conrad. I loved him in the show, and even reading the books even more so. I absolutely love him. I love Jeremiah, weirdly enough, in the show, but I did not like book Jeremiah, especially in book 3. I did not like that at all, so I'm wondering how they're going to deal with that in this show and how he's going to change. But if you've read this series, or if you're a fan of the show or plan to watch the show after you read the books, or vice versa, tell me, are you Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah? And tell me why, because I am definitely Team Connie Baby. I love him. Book that made you cry. So the whole video is pretty much promoting this book, but again, Before I Let You Go by Kennedy Ryan. I don't usually cry in books, guys. Like, I don't usually like actually produce tears in my eyes, but this book definitely had me a close call. And I was listening to the audiobook while I was doing like a task in my office, and I have like an office mate, and she wasn't watching me, but like I could feel myself. Like, I was packing up a box and listening to it, and there was a certain part in this book where I was like, I'm gonna cry right now, and I had to like fight it, because I'm like, I'm at my office, I can't just be like crying in front of my coworker like this, so I had to fight the tears. But yeah, definitely a tear jerker. Will definitely bring the tissues if you're gonna attempt reading this, for sure. Next one, a book that made you happy. So ironically enough, with this being the title, The Breakup Tour by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. So if you look at the cover of this book, you might be able to tell that it was kind of inspired by Taylor Swift and the Eras Tour. I am a big Swiftie. I love her. I've been listening to her music since debut, since I was in middle school. I grew up with her, all that good stuff. So this book kind of being inspired by Taylor Swift and giving that same kind of vibe, even though it's called The Breakup Tour and it is kind of a sad premise, it made me happy because it made me connect and remember and have those memories of Taylor Swift. I would say if you're a Swiftie, definitely give this a try, but don't expect it to be like obviously an exact replica. Our character Riley Wynn just went through a divorce, and going through her divorce, she has this mega hit of the summer, and everyone thinks it's about her ex-husband, but it's not. It's about her first love. And so in order to like kind of clear the air on that, she invites this first love from, is it college? Yeah, her college boyfriend to come with her on tour. And you know, he has his own story and reasons why the tour is beneficial for him, that he agrees to go with her. It was so cute. Like, Max and Riley, I think it was just a really cute story, and like I said, I think the novelty of it, kind of being inspired by Taylor Swift and the Eras Tour, it made me happy to read. And every time I look at this cover, I think of Taylor and I get happy. So. Alright, and the next one, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. So I have been collecting some more classics for my shelf, just for display purposes and just like to have pretty editions. And one of the classics I wanted to get was The Beauty and the Beast. This is a illustrated and interactive elements copy. So there's like little pop-ups in here, pictures, little things you can like pull out. Lots of pictures and pull-outs and things. I haven't really gone through this whole thing yet, but definitely this is probably the most beautiful book I own, and I like having these really pretty editions of classics because classics are things that are most likely going to stay on my bookshelf. You know, with contemporary, I'll read them. If I like them, I keep them. If I don't like them, I trade them out to half-price books or whatever. But classics are definitely something I kind of like view as an investment and keep as like a collector's item. So I am willing to like spend a little bit more and invest in like pretty classics. And of course I do want to read this because Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite fairy tales, and I really am excited to like read this and go through all the interactive elements in here. So yes, this is the most prettiest, most beautiful book I got this year. And the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So like I said, I'm definitely going to venture more into some more Kennedy Ryan. I want to venture more into Frida McFadden because I'm kind of trying to enter my thriller era. I just started reading Never Lie, which is like her most popular book. So if you have any more recommendations for Frida McFadden or for thrillers in general, leave them down below. So far I like it, so we'll see how I like it. But the biggest project I'm probably going to be working on is the Addicted Calloway series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. So with this one, I really, I've been putting it off because I think I'm just intimidated by how many books are in this series. This is the original series, and then there's also like a prequel series of their kids. And I have been intimidated to start it, but I know I'm going to enjoy it. I know I'm going to, because I've started reading this book 3 times, and I just never like follow through with it. I end up going to a standalone that I know I can finish and then be done. I don't typically read series for that reason because I have commitment issues, but I think it's going to be worth it, and so I want to commit to this series and read it all the way through. I actually have read the first 2 books in the sequel series of their kids, so I kind of like know what to expect in the future, but I really want to go back and read where it all started, and I know I'm going to love this series. Larry Reads talks about this series a lot, and I have the first 3 books here, so I'm ready, I'm prepared, I'm going to read these this year. I don't know if I'll make it through the whole Addicted Calloway series by the end of the year. That'd be great if I did, but definitely like the first 3 books that I own currently are getting read this year. Alright guys, that's my mid-year freakout book tag. Thank you so much for watching, and if you stayed to the end, thank you so much. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!